Let's go to the jack and the dog's gonna get food. Call to order this meeting of the Escanaba City Council, February 20th, 2025. Mr. Demay, please call roll.
Councilmember Moore?
Here.
Councilmember Boshaw?
Here.
Councilmember Dewar?
Here.
Councilmember Floth?
Here.
Marin?
Here, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, seeking approval and/or corrections to the minutes of the regular meeting of February 6th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. At this time, seeking approval and/or adjustments to the current agenda as written.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion.
Do have perhaps an amendment to make. Traffic order number 130 under number 7 is actually redundant. So if we could amend to change, I guess, delete number 1031
Strike that from the list.
and make 1030, I guess, what was the language under 1031. There might be an easier way to word that, but
So
I think,
moving 1031 to number 1030
yes,
and removing actually 1030.
correct.
Okay.
Who was on first?
Got that all, Bill? Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. At this time, is there any conflict of interest needing to be declared by members of council pertaining to items on the agenda? Hearing none. At this time, we'll hear brief public comments pertaining to items on the agenda. If you wish to make a comment, please approach the podium, state your name, place of residence, keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Hearing none. We move on to public hearings. We have one hearing scheduled for this evening. Item number 1, public hearing, citizen participation, 2025-26 fiscal year budget preparation.
A public hearing will be conducted to facilitate input from citizens for the city's next fiscal year budget. This is the second of 5 scheduled public hearings.
This time, we'll open the hearing.
Good evening. My name is John Anthony. I'm a resident of the city of Escanaba. Tonight, I'm speaking in regards to the public hearing regarding the 2025 and 2026 budget, specifically regarding the budget of consideration for the electrical department. For many years, I've had both the privilege and honor of serving on the City Electrical Advisory Committee, and also as a homeowner and a local manufacturer of some size. I can tell you that we certainly rely on reliable and cost-effective power to service our business. I think for the homeowners, the retirees, the renters, the businesses, the schools, the churches, and all of the ratepayers of the city, we all ask the same, as reliable power, cost-effective power moving forward. I would just like to say, with my time on the Electrical Advisory Committee, I certainly can attest that I think that's been a goal of the City Electrical Department and of our committee. And I think it's also been great to see the focus of now and in the past and looking ahead to the future for the infrastructure and the compliance that is required for electrical delivery these days. So I'd like to just give a compliment and a shout out to Jerry Polka and Josh and Jill and the entire team at the City Electrical Department. In my view, they've continued to look for towards the future. They've been cost conscious, and I think they have been diligent and dedicated in serving the city of Escanaba and the ratepayers. So in summary, I'm just here to attest to and support to the guidance and requests that the electrical budget proposal contained, and certainly appreciate the council's consideration thereof. Thank you.
Hearing no further comment, we'll close the hearing at this time. We currently have no unfinished business on the docket. Moving on to new business, item number 1, approval Webster Splash Park bid, recreation.
On November 25th, 2024, 34 bids were mailed out and 3 bids were received. Administration and C2AE are seeking city council approval of the low bid from Welechka Incorporated of Kearney, Michigan in an amount of $207,400 for the construction of the Webster Park splash pad. So a long road with the splash pad. I think we've talked about where it's been at over several budgets now. Kim Peterson can talk about kind of where it started and how we got to here. Pricing was an issue at one point, and pricing now is good, the way it's been bid. And she can talk about that a little bit.
I guess just a quick synopsis. The project started back in 2019, 2020. Then COVID happened, and then they had some Spark grants thrown in there, so the DNR staff were busy with that, so everything was behind for review for the bids that we were going to do. We did bid the project once. We did not receive any bids. Basically, they told us, when I called companies and asked them why they didn't bid, the timeline was not realistic because it takes so long to get the equipment, so the splash park parts, I guess you could say. We thought if they can get it in 2 or 3 months, they're telling us it's 5 to 8 months. And then the cost of everything almost doubled in price. We have a $200,000 budget. $150,000 is from the DNR trust fund. $50,000 is the matching funds from the city. The project that we're hoping passes tonight is going to be approximately $207,400. It is going to be over budget. I consider it a win, as it could be a lot worse than what it is. And that is going with rubberized matting, the rubberized floor.
Kim, it does say here too that project will begin this year and be completed by November 30th of 2025?
Correct.
Okay. And so really the city responsibility is $57,400?
Yes, we do have some amenities that we added as far as benches, and we have a bike rack, and there is some pavilions. We have been working with different entities, and we did receive a lot of grant dollars and donations for those. So I'm confident that we can get a majority of that paid for as well. But I'm not sure how those numbers are going to come in. Back in the day when we bid it, the pavilion was anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. Now they're telling me it could be $17,000, depending on what we're going to put there.
One last question. The rubber matting, what is the expectancy for that to last, to go that route?
With our elements, they won't guarantee anything, obviously, but they'll tell you 8 to 10 years.
10 years. And is it more to replace that than just a standard concrete or, not a rubber matting?
The rubberized matting is going to be more expensive. However, we have $200,000, and if we don't do that, then we're going to be below budget. That makes sense.
I'll make a motion to approve the cost of $207,400 for the splash park.
Support.
Further discussion on this item?
I just want to kudos to Kim for sticking it out for all these years.
I was not giving up on this.
Yeah, there was just too many things that happened and to delay it. So it's just wonderful that it's going to finally happen.
Mr. Demay, please call roll.
Councilmember Dubourg.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Councilmember Boshaw.
Yes.
Councilmember Flah.
Yes.
Mayor Allen.
Yes. New business, item number 2, approval, biosolids removal, 3-year contract, wastewater.
Administration is requesting city council approval to retain the services of FSO Management of Oconto Falls, Wisconsin for the disposal of biosolids from the City of Escanaba wastewater department with an amount of $12,500 for a mobilization fee and 27 cents. Is that per inch, Jeff?
Each gallon.
Inch gallon. Okay. So we've had a lot of biosolid talk and a lot of the concern we have with future land application. We're kind of running out of room. Land application has historically been a really cheap way to do it that I think it was kind of encouraged. Now trying to land apply within the rules is very difficult. We want to do some work to study what is what is our best option going forward? Is it going to be land application? Is it going to be bringing it to the landfill? Is it going to be a press and then landfill? Is it drying it? There's so many things to look at. We need time to do that. In the meantime, we have to do something with our biosolids. And FSO's been there. They've been doing a good job. Jeff had talked to them about extending the contract with an amendment versus rebidding this, because we know if we rebid it, the prices will be much higher. So this really is the lowest price we're going to get, probably by a good margin, and does buy us the time to figure out what the long-term plan is here.
So this is replacing when you were spraying it over the land to the west?
Correct. We did land application since the 1990, 1991, and that's just end of life on the land application. We need more land, or we need to start landfilling, or another alternative means of disposal for the biosolids.
So how long will it be before that land would be available for something to happen on it?
I think it could go, I have a 30-day mandate to keep people off of it. So after that 30-day thing, it's pretty much open to however the city sees fit to utilize it. However, I'd like to keep some of it in reserve, just in case we have a problem. We still have one viable truck to land apply with. I hope we can improve that property. I hope we can develop it because it's beautiful and make use of it. But I still like to keep it in reserve, just in case we need it for a couple of years while we figure out our plan.
Approximately how many gallons were you done? I'm sorry. Do we get rid of?
I did a spreadsheet calculating about 500,000 gallons. With the mobilization and everything, 2025 would be about $300,000 in FSO's work.
So this is a new contract. This is not an extension of the contract.
This is an extension, kind of an augment. The cost went down. Each year, everyone bid higher. Last fall, we paid 29 cents. The spring before that, we paid 25, and they offered a 27 cents right now for
So
25.
how many gallons did we have last year? About the same?
I don't have all those numbers, but
But I'm roughly about the same?
about the same, yeah.
Okay.
So last year, we paid about 274 in the spring, 316,000 in the fall, and I just threw something in there for 500,000. Again, if this contract was to happen, and we have 500,000 gallons, it'd be 295,000 and 25, assuming a 4% increase or whatever the CPI would be. Hard to say what the increase would be. About 306 for the following year, and kind of a pretty big jump, 421 in 27.
Yeah, so the future increase is pegged to CPI in the contract, which if our costs were actually going up by only CPI, it would be, I think, a huge win. Yeah.
But I'd like to warn you, this is all based off of an estimated $70 per ton tipping fee. I have a strong feeling that we will not be paying $70 a ton this year. We could be paying $100 a ton or more, depending on what the fee at the landfill will come up to. So, and that's the other aspect of having a long-term plan. If we go all in and we decide to go with the landfill forever, we're married to that tipping fee. So we have to make sure that we're taking a viable option for the city in whatever long-term route we go.
Would it be more expensive to do the landfill or cheaper for us to continue with the landfill?
Well, I don't know that yet because we don't have the engineering. There's a lot of infrastructure we'd have to buy or rent. That is a loaded question, and that is, I've got proposals out. I've got 2 engineering firms that I'm asking for long-term engineering on biosolids removal for. So I don't have those answers yet.
Sure.
know,
And I know that you stated, just so people know too, that you've checked out other municipalities on how they're handling this as well. Can you elaborate on some of the methods they're doing?
Really briefly, we went to Marinette. They have a screw, they go through, they dry it, they screw press it, they run it through a big natural gas dryer. They put it into a big semi truck, and then they have to truck their stuff down towards Chicago because it's PFAS contaminated sludge. So our PFAS isn't high enough yet to be of concern, although everything that we do have PFAS, it goes to the landfill, it comes back. It's a cyclic event. But nearly everyone in this, someone on the west end is doing the same thing as Marinette. Ishpeming, Marquette area, they're landfilling because of PFAS. Everyone is going away from land application to landfills because it's containing the PFAS.
It's already, money's available already in your budget, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Support.
Further discussion on this item? Mr. Demay, please call roll.
Councilmember Dubois?
Yes.
Councilmember Boshaw?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes,
Councilmember Floth?
Yes.
Mayor Engel?
Yes. New business, item number 3, approval DWSRF project plan preparation, water.
administration is requesting city council approval to retain professional services of C2AE with regard to the DWSRF project plan in an amount not to exceed $20,000. So the project plan is an Eagle DWSRF project plan. To apply for SRF and to be funded, you have to have this project plan. And the work that you're applying for has to be in your project plan. And that's something we've continually tried to kind of navigate as we go through our projects year to year, and the projects can adjust and change a little bit as you go. And it's always looking back, is the work in our project plan, because then it can be funded. So over time, as time passes, your plan can get a little bit stale. And then it's also an Eagle requirement to renew it. There is an expiration date on it. So we are really required here, if we're going to continue to use SRF, to put a new project plan together. We can't really predict the future if we will be using SRF or not. We'll certainly be applying. Depending on funding levels, it might be something we accept, it might be something we don't. But certainly, if we intend to apply, it's something that we're going to have. And even if we apply for other funding, the project plan can kind of serve as a roadmap on what work needs to get done. And certainly, I think, as we've applied even for some federal funding, referring to our Eagle project plan, I think has helped that case too at the federal level.
And if we do submit this new project plan, it'd be good for another 5 years, so we'd go to 2030. Because 2025 it has to be submitted, so we have 5 years after the new plan.
Correct. Each project plan is good for 5 years.
Okay.
I move approval.
I'll second.
support.
Further discussion on this item? Mr. Demay, please call roll.
Councilmember Floth?
Yes.
Councilmember Dubois?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes,
Councilmember Boshaw?
Yes.
Mayor Engel?
Yes. New business, item number 4, approval wastewater capital improvement plan, CCTV wastewater.
Administration is requesting city council approval to return the services of Tunnel Vision of Escanaba, Michigan to clean and televise according to NASCO PACP guidelines, approximately 24 miles of sanitary sewer in an amount not to exceed $500,000. Money is available within the current wastewater department's fiscal year. So in our budget, every year you see a really big number in the wastewater budget under a line called CIPP. That's kind of we call it internally our ACO line item of work that needs to get done to comply with our ACO. We have to submit a work plan to Eagle every year on what we're doing to comply. Right now, that's really focused on Ludington Street. They want to know, what are we doing after that? We don't know, unless we're able to televise and know the condition. more than likely, it's going to end up in a lot of lining, but we don't want to waste money on lining pipe that is good. We want to target these priority areas where we think there are issues. The unit pricing came in a lot lower than expected. We are under budget with it. I think the bid came in at $320,000. There is some contingencies because of expected cleaning to be able to televise it, and potentially to do some more work, because certainly 24 miles, I think we have close to 80 miles of pipe that we're gonna have to do over time here, so. Jeff, am I missing anything there?
No, you summarized it all really well. If we use SRF funds, this NASCO rating is a mandate for it. We cannot be state-funded without televising and NASCO rating of the sewer.
So the majority of this is going to be for Main Street, the project that's happening, am I correct?
This will be mostly outside of Ludington. There might be some in the Ludington area or on future phases.
Well, if you looked at the map that I gave you,
Yeah.
the shaded areas, that Ludington Street drainage district is all gonna be televised. And then we're hitting and focusing on the wettest and the poorest areas that we feel we have to hit. And, we're gonna go to the areas that we have lesser concern of in future years of televising.
So you already have the target areas where you think that there's problems? Or no,
These
there's-
are our hot spots that we're most concerned
Yeah,
about.
it's areas like Sylvan Point and West Escanaba where we know there's, compared to the pipe, higher groundwater. And I think areas where we might suspect there could be some poor pipe.
My question for you, for, the ACO regulation we have to abide by, if we just did sewer lining, did the linings, would we comply by doing just the linings of the sewers? Would we just still be in compliance?
After the Ludington Street work and after we remove all the sump pumps from the city, I think we'll be in really good shape with lining if the sanitary sewers are capable and can be lined. Some of them may be degraded so far that lining may not be an option. But that's our hopes, is to use the most economic means possible of improvement. It's a lot more expensive to tear up a concrete alley than to line it. But we have to give some consideration to the laterals and those conditions. If the lateral's underwater and it's taking in water as well, just lining our main isn't gonna do it. So open construction, putting a new main, you always go to the property lines and you're removing a lot of that lateral that's beneath the water that's taking in clean groundwater. So that is a good question, and it's one that we've been struggling with. There's a part in the ACO that says how we get out of it, and it's doing a flow monitoring and assessing it. Do you remember what it's called, Jim?
I don't remember, it's a certain storm event, I think it was the 25-year storm event. We have to model in the system to show that it can handle it. There's a certain name to it, I don't remember, but they're gonna wanna see proof that we've reduced enough I&I, at least from where we were, to show that, okay, these are the improvements we made, this is what our new model shows, and then we test out.
The game plan is to take care of all the things that we know about, televise the system, see if there's anything we don't know about, and then make a strategic decision on when we apply for that study and test to get out of the ACO. And that's years away, but we've talked about it at great length, but no solid plans because we've got many millions of dollars of work to get to where we need to be. And it's all reliant, the Ludington Street, the roof drains, the sump pumps. I think we're gonna be in pretty good shape when if we get there in 3 or 4 years, we might have a chance, but it might take a lot of lining. Without the televising, I'm just saying, we need 3 years of 24 miles of televising to even know where we're gonna land, and see where we're gonna be.
Thank you.
Mr. Bode.
I believe the map that you gave us showed at the top 70,000 feet Now, that's not 24 miles.
No, I think that those were many separate 70,000 sections.
Okay.
I added up all the square foot, all the footage that C2A gave me, and it was however many thousand feet, and I just did the 5,200 whatever feet per mile and got to 24 miles.
And you're asking for a 60, 70% additional cushion? What's that all about?
That is having money available when they're here. I believe that a lot of the cleaning, we've already got half the pipe listed as heavy cleaning. If we find that there's other heavy cleaning areas that are needed, we need money to pay them and keep moving. If you're unwilling to do the contingency, I can come back here and ask for more money when they're on the street working, but we're not gonna spend it if we don't need it. And it's all work that needs to be done, and we're getting a really good value with this bid. So I'd like to extend it and have money available to get as much work as we can done. And we may need some bypass pumping as well.
Is this company capable of lining the pipes?
Yes, Tunnel Vision is very capable, but this is only for televising and NASCO rating.
Sure, I understand, but it seems to me if you're cleaning the pipe and scoping it, videoing it, as long as the pipe is clean, wouldn't that be the time to line it if it needs to be lined?
Well, if I can get another $2 million to take care of that stuff, let's bang it out. Let's do it right away.
We'd be cash funding all that.
'Cause I'm-
Right.
Yeah.
Aren't they going to need to clean the pipe when they do line it?
Yes, but let's focus on the fact that this is preparing and identifying for our problems. One big regret that I have back when we did SAW, when SAW came up with a $1 million grant, and they kept saying, if you don't adjust your rates properly, you're gonna have to give that $1 million back. Well, I was brand new fresh, and I'm thinking, boy, $1 million, I can't give $1 million back. So we split it up with DPW. 500,000 went to storm, 500,000 went to sanitary. A lot of cities televised their entire sanitary with the SAW grant. Hindsight, I wish I did it. On the other side, the storm benefited greatly by that storm work, or that SAW work. Identifying and finding out what we have to deal with. I'm rambling, it's important. We'll be back at this podium, talking about lining, and it's gonna be millions of dollars to get out of the ACO. So I don't know any other way than spend the money now to identify the problems.
Thank you.
Further discussion on this item? I believe we had,
So move approval.
Support.
I would agree with Mr. Boshaw, though, that it seems to kill two birds with one stone. If it has to be lined, can we get a quote to say how much this is going to cost in addition to get these lined if they're going to be in there doing that?
We could. The issue is, it would all be strictly cash funded. There would be no grants available until we're able to televise, get the ratings, apply, and then get potential grant money for it. But, I mean, we can get the latest lining price, and if it makes sense, we can come back with that.
Tunnel Vision has actually offered us what would be the equivalency of my deal pricing for lining. It's a set rate that they have throughout the state, and if council's so inclined to immediately line stuff, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to strike some kind of deal. I can definitely look into that if you want to be proactive and quickly mitigate any problems we find. I'm open to that if you guys really want me to go down that road. But I'll be coming back with a couple $1 million, and it'll be cash funded or bonded, because we don't have that kind of money available to spend.
I think it'd be good to get, just so we could see what the numbers would be,
Fair enough, I can get that together, and
if that's okay with the rest of council.
Sure, I'd
Jim,
like to see
while
that.
he's doing that, can you find another cookie jar to look in for some 1 to 2 million that we can do this with? Okay, you got your homework, you got yours. Further discussion on this item?
Well, there was,
What's that?
nope.
Mr. May. Please call roll.
Are you gonna rescind your motion? Yeah, I'll resend it.
Are we making a new
You
addition
make
to
a
that?
Make a motion for approval of the $500,000 in addition to come back to council with a quote on what it would cost for lining as well.
Support.
I'm confused.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
That means we're doing the lining, and at some point in the next 2 months, I come back through email via Jim on what our lining may cost if we want to pursue any kind of lining. It would be through an email to Jim, not necessarily a council presentation, or how do you want to do that?
No, I think what his motion is to go ahead with this cleaning and camera system, but before that starts, to get pricing to also line the pipes if council wants to cough up the cash.
Okay, and I'm only going to caution you one thing. Part of the NASCO rating is to get SRF money, and if we do an ITA, there's not a great chance of loan forgiveness or grant money, but this whole reason is to pursue grant and free money. So that might, I'm more than open to take care of problems, but I'm just saying that if we mitigate something too quickly, we are not going to be able to be grant funded tomorrow.
Okay, so I'm just going to make a motion to approve the $500,000, okay? Side note is you have your assignment to get back to us in regards to the cost, potential estimated cost for lining possibility.
I will send that to Jim, and I'm sure he'll get that to you via email or something.
So it's my motion again, all over
Yeah.
again, but yes, I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Phil started it, actually, so this is what. Mr.
Follow the
DeMay,
rules.
please call roll.
Okay, Councilmember Dubois.
Yes.
Councilmember Flaw.
Yes,
Councilmember Moore.
Yes,
Councilmember Bochamp.
Yes.
Mayor Hamel.
Yes. New business, item number 5, approval, maximum allowable headworks loading wastewater.
Administration is requesting city council approval to retain the services of Fishbeck of Grand Rapids, Michigan with regard to the city of Escanaba wastewater department maximum allowable headworks loading, mall, and local limits evaluation in an amount not to exceed $31,100. Money is available within the current wastewater department's fiscal year. I might let Mr. Lampy explain what the mall really does in more technical detail. It came up a couple times within the last year. The way I understand it in simpler terms is there are exceedances and limits that we have to be very careful with our NPDES permit at the wastewater plant. Certainly accepting leachate, which is probably our primary focus, but other things into our collection system, it could pose a risk to us violating our permit. I think the mall gives us kind of an assessment of that and potentially what we could accept or what would be needed to treat what we do accept.
I probably won't be able to do much better than Jim just did. We've been talking about this for a long time with Eagle. Fishbeck has conducted marquettes. Tom Asmuth at Eagle is highly impressed with Fishbeck's capability. The basic thing with the mall is to identify what our plant can take, the quantities and concentrations, what it can take and still meet our NPDES permit when it passes through the plant. This may lead into receiving septage. This may lead into groundwater acceptance for a brownfield. Although I'll always say, no, we don't want it, because there's no idea of what we're really gonna get and whether it kills the bugs or passes through the plant. And we lose our acute toxicity testing on our NPDES permit. The main focus is the leachate. Because we have leachate, we are not necessarily mandated, but highly encouraged to do the mall. The mall would do nothing but benefit us to know what our plant's capable of. And if we want to expand or accept other industry, knowing these criteria will benefit us.
okay, can you dumb it down a little bit more for me? I get it, but other people aren't getting it, right? So what does it mean? Bottom line.
The mall is going to identify what's coming into the plant through a series of testing. and see what the plant is capable of digesting and passing through or keeping in the solids, the contaminants. It's high level, it's gonna take 18 months to conduct. During this fiscal year, we're only gonna spend about 4,000 or 5,000. And one thing I spoke to Fishbeck about is, I always go to the 4 or 5 fingers of the city. You know, so we got the leachate line, we got the industrial area behind Bay, we've got a domestic area with some commercial properties, and then to the south, we've got nothing but domestic. My intent is to double down on the lab testing, add all the PFAS components to this, and figure out which main trunk line or finger the bulk of our PFAS, or the bulk of our heavy metals, or the bulk of our contaminants are coming from, so that when the day comes that we need to identify, we've got one finger or trunk line to focus on, because then every trunk line has multiple branches. So that testing could take years of different, you know, to get it down to a point source, industry, building. So this is a step line to tomorrow's requirements that I feel are coming.
Jeff, I have 2 questions that might help too. If our NPDES permit were to tighten, which as regulations do, would this help us, whether it's metals or whatever, would it help us identify ways to mitigate our exposure towards certain chemicals or metals?
I believe it will. It's gonna identify what our plant is capable, and just a little plug, our improvements at the plant have been dramatic. We are poster children for Michigan. Our copper levels have gone down dramatically. Our filamentous growth have all but gone away. The state is super happy. The operators are running that plant really good. Because our plant is operating so efficiently, my concerns about the heavy metals have diminished, although with the next round of NPDES permit, those limits may come down and they may become problematic. The mall will focus on what we need to focus on, where we need to focus on, and what we can and cannot accept throughout the city.
Would it identify any pretreatment needs to leachate probably being one that would be a candidate?
I believe that at some point in time in the next 3, 5, 10 years, pretreatment on the leachate is almost gonna be a requirement. And this mall doing the baseline fingers or trunk lines is gonna identify, well, we'll just focus on PFAS, whether it's all coming from the landfill or it's coming from the south side of Escanaba in the domestic area. It's gonna narrow our field down and help us identify our problems. Did I do that right, Jim?
I think so.
I just have one last question. Your professional service agreement is dated back November 25th of 2024. Did they raise prices, or are we locked in for this price on the service agreement back then?
No, Fishbeck said they were good. I've been trying to get Fishbeck, I've been trying to come to the podium with Fishbeck for 2 years. I've finally been successful in getting them to the table. And they now have a person on Garden Peninsula. They've got local feet on the ground. We met with her, super smart. They're just like a hometown person right now. They're here, 45 minutes away.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll make a motion for approval.
I will second.
Oh, well.
Is there further discussion on this item? Mr. May, please call roll.
Councilmember Flaw?
Yes.
Councilmember Dubois?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Yes,
Councilmember Boshaw?
Yes.
Mayor Himmel?
Yes.
Thank you.
New business, item number 6, approval, replacement of boiler, public safety.
Administration is seeking city council approval to replace one Ultra boiler with a Well McLean Evergreen 299 kBTU boiler from Berger and King in an amount of $14,525. This is just replacing a failed boiler. Our Director Goodware can explain a little bit about the failure itself and what the need is here.
Yeah, good evening, council. The water jacket is leaking. Was actually found by accident. I went out there, Richie's Refrigeration was doing some work on our fire floor because our heaters were out there. And I noticed something in there that wasn't normal, and we looked in and he discovered, there's a hole in that water jacket. He said, yeah, this needs to be replaced. It is still functioning right now, but I don't know how much longer it will function. Obviously, it's not a good situation because we have 4 boilers that heat the building. One was replaced a few years ago, and the other 3 are, this one's 19 years old, and the other 3, these 3 would be 19 years old, and the other one is only a few years old. And I had gotten a quote from Richie's and Bergeron King, and they came back the cheapest.
I think the price is good. That's me. I just was surprised. So,
And I'm hoping, in fact, I talked to Bergeron King today about lead time, and barring anything crazy, he thinks maybe a week to 2 weeks, they could get it done, depending on if there was a bunch of cold that came and they had a bunch of domestic stuff they had to fix for people.
and are they, I'm assuming they're throwing in a warranty within this because we're purchasing it through them?
I don't know what the warranty would be on that.
That's
I'm
fine.
sorry. I
Nope, that's okay.
forgot that, but-
I'll move approval.
Support.
Further discussion on this item? Mr. Demay, please call roll.
Councilmember Boshaw.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Councilmember Dubourg.
Yes.
Councilmember Flah.
Yes.
Mayor Hamel.
Yes.
Thank you.
New business item number 7, approval traffic control orders number 1026 through 1030 as amended. Public safety.
Administration is seeking city council approval of traffic control orders number 126 through 1030. Traffic control orders expire 90 days from the filing date unless approved by city council. The traffic control orders state the following. Number 126, install a 25-mile-per-hour sign on 14th Avenue South. 127, install a yield sign at intersection on 13th Avenue South and South 13th Street. Number 128, install a yield sign at intersection of 15th Avenue South and South 13th Street. 129, install a yield sign at intersection on 12th Avenue South and South 13th Street. And number 130, no parking on west side of the 100 block of South 15th Street at the Marketplace.
The reason where the yield signs will be going is they were unmarked intersections, and we're trying to get every unmarked intersection marked. So that's what those yield signs, that's why they would be added. The no parking signs is at the Mr. Warple's facility, and it's no parking between signs is actually what it is on the west side. It's not the whole side of the block, but it leaves parking there for people that are gonna be maybe a vendor there, and so the public isn't gonna park there, and it has the ability for the vendors to be able to park in that small section between the signs.
So I'll make approval.
Support.
Further discussion on this item?
These documents say date of filing October 15th of 2024.
Yes, well, that'll be on me. It was a delay to get these here to council.
Okay.
So,
Okay, just
That
making
was-
sure. Okay.
but they were approved by the Traffic Safety Committee.
I believe that was our last traffic safety advisory meeting was in October, because we had a lack of something or other in December.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, we had a recent one this week.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Further discussion? Mr. Demay, please call roll.
Councilmember Flah.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Councilmember Boshaw.
Yes.
Councilmember Dubourg.
Yes.
Mayor Hamel.
Yes.
Thank you.
New business, item number 8, approval, purchase tank monitoring system. Marina.
Administration is seeking city council approval to purchase a new fuel tank monitor system in an amount of $14,045.32. So our harbor master, Kim Peterson, has been working on this closely with our provider down there. The tank's very old. The system is very old. We've been having issues with the system as it is. I think we're like one of a kind almost because of how old it is. So we did first kind of look at Band-Aids. What could get us through really isn't a good option for that with its age. The good thing is this new system would be compatible with an eventual fuel tank replacement. So they're looking at a 5-year plan for capital improvements down there. Fuel tanks will be part of that. I don't know if it'll be a year 1 or 2 or a year 4 or 5 kind of thing, but certainly something that's coming. Kim, you might have more to say about it.
I think you said it perfectly.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Further discussion on this item?
So just what does the monitor system do?
Monitors the, like, water level and, well, not, I should say the water level, the fuel in the tanks. See if there's, make sure there's no water in the tanks, what the level's at. So basically, when they come and fill the tanks, we make sure we got it with the gas we're supposed to get, and we balance everything out. And like Jim said, there's only 2 in the state of Michigan, and we're one of them.
Okay, thank you.
You want to see a neat old gas pump?
And
Hang
to
out on the
have,
dock once and
to have a system, you need to be able to monitor.
And it's required by the state of Michigan.
Yeah.
So every day we have printouts, every week we have, reports, quarterly, yearly, so.
Thank you.
Mr. May, please call roll.
Councilmember Dubourg.
Yes.
Councilmember Moore.
Yes.
Councilmember Boshaw.
Yes.
Councilmember Floff.
Yes.
Mayor Amble.
Yes. We currently have no appointments to make this evening, but on behalf of this group of people that works with various boards and receives information from various boards, and the rest of the people in the city that have jobs that rely on information from that, we're down to 2 alternate vacancies on the Zoning Board of Appeals. So thank you, everyone, for stepping up and filling up our boards in the last couple of years. Because most of the time it's thankless, but it sure is worth it to make our city a better place to live. So thank you very much, everyone. Board, commission, committee reports.
I have none.
The Planning Commission met last week. They held a public hearing for a special land use permit. There's a company looking to put in a hospice care facility on First Avenue South and 16th Street. That was approved. They also reviewed a site plan for I believe it was 50,000 square foot distribution hub warehouse facility off of North 30th Street between 6th and 9th Avenue North. That was approved as well.
I have none.
I have none.
New business item number 7 took care of most of the Traffic Safety Advisory Committee's dealings on Tuesday, and also the board reviewed information provided by Terry Flowers about the upcoming MDOT project. There'll be some big changes coming up in the future on everything up on the highway, basically, sidewalks and access points and things like that. I can't speak for MDOT, therefore I'm not going to. If you have questions, you can call Mr. Flowers at Public Works and he'll be happy to walk you through. He does have a lot of information available. General public comment at this time.
Hi, good evening. Kelly Van Genhoven, City of Escanaba, Delta County Commissioner for District 4. I'd just like to give you guys a few updates of the things that the Delta County Board of Commissioners have been working on, along with some of our committees, commissions, and boards. First of all, I'd like to let the city know that there is a notice of intent to prepare Delta County's master plan. That'll be coming out soon. As a member of the Planning Commission and a member of the Master Plan Subcommittee, we welcome the city's cooperation. We look forward to a great collaborative effort with you. So if you have anything that you would like to possibly say or include input on the county's master plan, please feel free to reach out to me. Second of all, I would like to thank the members of our Escanaba Public Safety who were present for the Delta County Overdose Awareness Gathering in Rapid River last week. Their presence and the presentation from Director Goodware was very good. That organization will be holding another meeting at the end of the month, so please look for that on social media. As a member of Delta County's Opioid Task Force, we are now accepting RFP applications for grant funds through March 31st. These funds can be used for a myriad of reasons, all having to do with the opioid epidemic that we face, from prevention to recovery. You can find the application on our county's website, deltacountymi.gov. And again, those are being accepted through March 31st. And then lastly, I'd just like to give a shout out to the Escanaba Public Works Department for their recent efforts in keeping Ludington Street and cutting very close to the curbs clear of all the snow and the parking lots of the surrounding area in the downtown district. I also sit on Escanaba's DDA board, and we appreciate the efforts very much. So thank you and have a good night.
Further public comment at this time? Hearing none, we move on to announcements.
March 5th, we are having our, I guess, a larger than usual infrastructure meeting. It's our one that we normally have the first Wednesday of every month. But we're going to be focusing on two components. At 5 o'clock, we're going to be looking at least this first leg of work on Ludington Street. Letters will be going out to impacted properties, but certainly we encourage everybody who's going to be affected there to attend. And then at 6 o'clock, we're going to kind of just give a brief overview of other work in the city that's going to be going on this summer.
Further announcements? I have one. Saturday, March 1st, at the Escanaba High School building will be Special Olympics basketball. And if you've never attended, I would recommend you do that, because if you would like to feel a sense of community and sportsmanship, that is the event to be part of. Also, I believe our city band that we just celebrated 100 years of will be performing there for the athletes to enter to. So do that. Seeking motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.